Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our very first podcast of Let's Talk About It Dialogue with Daphne. I'd like to start off by introducing yours truly, Daphne Pinkney. Today's podcast, you will learn all about who I am, what I do, and we'll just get to know each other. And then as the weeks go on, the podcast will represent leadership, all things real estate, all things finances, all things partnership, all things entrepreneurship, and whatever you guys want to talk about. So, who am I? Let's talk about me. I am Daphne Pinkney. I'm a full-time realtor in the Chicagoland area. I am also the owner and operator of the Pinkney Team Realty. Yay! So, the Pinkney Team Realty was established on April 1st of 2020. However, I'm not new to the real estate game. I come from a mortgage industry and background of over 20 years at various major mortgage institutions. And about 3 years ago, I decided that I would become a full-time realtor. And we'll talk about that shortly. So I became a full-time realtor April 1st of 2018. And then we started our own company April 1st of 2020. So we are approaching our 1 year anniversary and I could not be more excited. The Pinkney Team Realty is here to serve all of Chicagoland area with all of your home buying, selling, investing needs. And I am joint partners with my darling husband, Paris Pinkney, who is also owner and managing broker, along with my oldest daughter, Kia Pinkney, who is also a full-time realtor. And then we just put out our very first offer letter for our director of support, Paris Pinkney, Paris J. Pinkney, and my husband is Paris A. Pinkney. She will be joining us this spring when she graduates from the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. So that constitutes the Pinkney Team Realty. And although right now the Pinkney team consists of all Pinkneys, we will grow that team out coming shortly to a real estate boutique near you. So that is what we plan to do next, is open up a boutique and continue to grow home ownership. Back to myself, Daphne Pinkney. I started in the real estate industry because I was so fed up with corporate America. So on today's topic of Let's Talk About It, we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, getting started, sticking with it, follow through, and what it takes to get your business off the ground. Back in 2018, I was just so tired of being laid off. I worked for a major company and I got laid off literally at least once a year, once every 18 months. And I had to continue to apply for the new position. So they laid me off along with others and then just retitled my position. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sick of this. So my husband, who's been an entrepreneur for over 10 years, said, let's talk about it, Daph. Aren't you tired of doing that? Aren't you tired of the roller coaster and the yo-yo? What are you waiting for? And I'll never forget when he told me, I don't know what's crazier or more sad, that you don't believe in yourself, your God, or your husband. You have what it takes to start your own business and become a full-time realtor. So I woke up and I said, you know what? That's it. I'm going to become a full-time realtor. I had great expectations, but I wasn't really sure where it would go. I wanted to be home with my children. And I said, let's think about it. What are you expecting from this real estate? So let's talk about that. When you come up with the right idea, I know there's so many realtors and entrepreneurs out here that makes entrepreneurship seem so easy. You're going to get out what you put in and you'll likely work more than 40 hours a week when you're getting it off the ground. So we're back in 2018. I decided I'm going to become a full-time realtor, pass that real estate exam first time out the gate. What do you do next? So you find your business idea, you think about it, you plan for it, you talk about it with your loved ones, and you determine, am I going to do this full-time or am I going to do it part-time? For me, I decided that I would be full-time. I wanted to give it 110% effort. I wanted to have 100% freedom, and I had an excellent support system. So when you're starting out, much like myself, and you determine if you're going full-time or if you're going part-time, you have to make sure that you're mentally prepared, right? You're financially prepared, you're emotionally prepared because there is rejection in entrepreneurship, and that you're physically prepared because you need that stamina to be able to get up and go about it. So I'm mentally prepared, I'm financially prepared, I have 100% backing from my husband and my children. We've set expectations on work-life balance, what we expect, everyone's behind me. I have the vision, I made it plain. We're out there, right? What's next? Let's talk about it. Now I came up with the name. I want to be the Pink Me Team. I wasn't really sure, and honestly, I'm not still 100% sure how big I want to grow it. Part of me says the Pink Me Team will be in Arizona, Atlanta, Florida, Chicago, everywhere in all the major metropolitan cities. But you don't have to come up with that in one day. You get your name, you get your product, you get your sphere of influence, which is who is your targeted area. Who are you going to sell your product to, or who are you going to propose your product to, or who are going to be your clients? How much do you anticipate making? What are you going to do to get there? And then you go from there. So I came up with the name, the Pink Me Team Realty. It had to be at least two realtors, which was my husband and myself. And voila, we started off selling one house a month, homing 5 families a month. I think our biggest month we maybe did 22. I sold 22 homes in 1 month, 22 families in a home. So now I'm super duper excited. What's next? The Pink Me Team Boutique, the Pink Me Team grows. Okay, here comes Kia, my eldest daughter. Kia was 22 years old when she became a full-time realtor with the Pink Me Team. And in that moment, our business literally tripled. So when you're an entrepreneur, we make it look like it's an overnight success. Guys, it's not an overnight success. So you may look at like the athletes, the musicians, the actresses, and be like, oh my God, where did they come from? Like they were an overnight success. That's not it. There's a lot of tears, prayers, strategy, planning, talking about it, and preparation that comes into that. And so as I speak about it, everyone says, oh my God, Daphne, it looks like you close houses every day. Well, first of all, those are my intentions, but that's not a reality. I'm very strategic, right? Because you have to treat whatever business that you decide that you're going to start with, guys, you have to treat it as a business. If you treat it as a hobby, it's going to profit as a hobby. If you treat it as your career and as a business, it'll profit as it. So I'm very strategic when I'm going through the month. How many homes can we sell this month? What areas do we want to go? Me, myself, I service all of the Chicagoland area. I follow my pre-approvals. I set out to build a team of lenders that I know and trust. And being in the mortgage industry for 2 decades, I met a ton of lenders. Then I set out to make partnerships and network with attorneys because I want to be a one-stop shop, right? Then I went out and I met all of the inspectors, got a great group of inspectors. I went out for people who are just coming to me because oftentimes they don't realize the difference between a realtor, a broker, and the loan officer. So because I do come from a mortgage background and I'm very versed and knowledgeable and scripted in all things mortgage, the life of the loan, which is a super advantage to you, right, to have me as your realtor, they don't know the difference. So when they come and say, hey, Daphne, I want to have a refinance, then I push them through to the lenders that do refinances. Literally, we have insurance partners, we have security system partners, hence the Pink Me Team. So who are you going to partner with? Who's going to be your support system? Who's going to help you? A lot of the times people think that it's easier to do things solo, and in some instances that may be the case. My husband's business has grown exponentially, but he's a one-man team. However, in the real estate industry, I find that it's about networking. You want to get out there and know your peers, other realtors, because when they see your name, you want them to know exactly who you are, and that gives your client an advantage because they know, oh my God, Daphne has closed 100 loans in the last year. 100 families have been home. Her team is going to get her to the finish line. So it's super duper important to come outside of your shell just a little bit and get out there, network, and to just put yourself out there. Next, let's talk about marketing. How do you put yourself out there? For me, my previous managing broker, she was extraordinary. So I became a realtor, and then I started thinking, okay, Daph, where do you want to go? I was very strategic, right, on what company I would join, what that company stood for, and how it would enhance my career and benefit me. My previous manager, Burkle, had name recognition throughout the industry, so there was instances where my offers were accepted because they knew exactly who that firm was and who she was. So you have to decide when you become an entrepreneur who you're going to target, who you're going to partner with, and who you're going to align yourself with. It's super duper important because oftentimes perception is reality, and you don't always get a chance to make a first impression again. So I was very strategic on who I wanted to go with. And then I made sure that I absorbed whatever I can absorb from that. So now you've come up with your idea. You've determined if you're going to be full time or part time. You've determined who your target area is going to be, who's your sphere of influence, who's going to, if you're selling an actual physical product, is that product in high demand? Oh, this is a good one. Let's talk about that. Don't worry about how many people. You want to do your research, right, and see if it's something that people are utilizing, but don't worry about how many people are doing what you're doing, because if God called you to it, he'll provide the means necessary. So there's a million and one realtors, right? And if I was intimidated and would say, oh my God, there's so many great realtors, there's enough resources and clients out there for us all. You figure out your audience and you figure out how you're going to appeal to them, and then you just go for it. So you've created your name, you found your company, you found your product, you found your sphere of influence, you've decided if you're going to do a full-time or part-time. Now it's execution time, right, guys? How are you going to do it? So for me, when I first started, I woke up like a 9 to 5. I would get up at 7 in the morning, follow my leads, push people out homes, work it just like a business, a real live job. So oftentimes people are confused, oh, why am I not as profitable, or why am I not as successful, or why am I not selling as many homes as Daphne Pinckney Realtor or the other realtors? But guys, you gotta treat it like a career. So what I would do is I would wake up at a set time, whether I had closings that day or whether I had showings that day. I got up every single morning and worked my business like a business, even if I had nothing to do. And guess what? Because I haven't lived all over the Chicagoland area, I would get up and go to areas where if I saw people selling a lot of houses out south, I'm a born and bred West Sider, right? So I would get up with my husband and we would just drive out south, and I would familiarize myself with the neighborhoods, drive to downtown, familiarize myself with the neighborhoods. Who's my competition? What are they doing? What can I take from that to build my brand? So you have to treat it as a job. Corporate America was a blessing for me, right? So I watched some of the younger realtors come out, and I'm pretty young myself, but I watched some of the younger people come out and they just have no idea and they don't have a plan or a strategy. But what I learned from corporate America is listener train of thought. Who's listening to you? Who's watching you? What do they need to know? Real estate purchases and selling is one of the biggest investments of most people's lives. So you have to be trustworthy and make sure that whatever you're selling, that you're setting yourself apart from all of your competition and everyone else who's doing it. But you can also still celebrate others who are doing it from you and be teachable and able to connect with them and figure out what they're doing and how you can apply it. So what I did was I started networking like crazy. And I have children and I have a husband. I was very into the gym. So I had a very active life. I really didn't have time to be out, fraternizing and socializing. But I realized I want people to know what I'm doing. People are attracted to success. They want to know that you're plugged, so to speak. So I started getting out there, putting myself out there, socializing, networking, and connecting. So when you're thinking about starting your business and you're thinking about entrepreneurship, you want to align yourself with people who you want to be like, people that inspire you and that you respect and that you're like, oh my God. So the realtor that inspired me, I'll never forget. I was watching and I was a realtor like 10 or 12 years ago, but it was part-time. And I was thinking, man, she makes it look so easy. And I started thinking, I can do that. So when you get that idea, so I started writing it. I started following her page. I just started saying, okay, so she does this, she does that. And then when I jumped out there, I knew that I can do it. I had already studied, right? So you know how they say you get an understudy or you get someone that you're watching. I had already studied the women and the realtors and the men that I thought were very successful from every race, creed, color, gender. I had my eyes on someone and said, okay, they do this, they do that, they did this. I learned what to do and what not to do, right? So now that's Daphne Pinckney and entrepreneurship. For you, you've determined what you want to do, where you want to sell it, where you want to go, how much you want to make, how much time you want to put into it. When I first started, guys, I probably was working about 60 hours a week. And I've been doing it almost 3 years, coming up to the 1st of April. Now I probably work about 40 hours a week, give or take, because I got assistance. So once you see that you need help, you have to spend money to make money. My previous broker said, Daphne, for the first year, don't spend any money. Oh my God, that was so difficult because I was already an established person, so I had the resources to do it. But utilize what your resources are. How are you going to become profitable? How are you going to make money? Mine's was social media. So if I'm not going to spend money the first year, how am I going to grow my business? So I never posted on social media like I did when I became a realtor. But how do people know what you do if you don't tell them? And who's going to promote you more than you? So at first I was like, oh my God. And she kept saying, you should go live. You should let people see your personality. And I'm like, no, I'm not, I don't want to be in front of the camera, or I don't want to be, seen braggadocious, or I don't want to, do too much. But then I started thinking, my dad used to say, you can never do too much. Either if you're gonna offend some people, and some people they're gonna absolutely love you. So I just started posting like crazy on social media. And guess what? You'll get rejection, and you may not always see the results immediately. But just because people are not liking or tweeting or sharing does not mean that you're not making an impact, right? Let's talk about that. I started getting calls saying, I saw you close my neighbor up the street. That person never friended me on any of the medias, maybe never even commented, but here they were my new client. I said, I think I can do something with the social media. So I started going, and I'm going to give you an example on how don't get discouraged because you don't see it. I go across Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and a Facebook business page, right? On all 5 of those medias, I'm Daphne Pinkney. And on a few of them, it may be Daphne Pinkney Realtor, because I want to have one consistent message, want to put myself out there, and I want to make myself easier to find once the buzz started talking about Daphne Pinkney, Daphne Pinkney. However, on my Facebook personal page, originally I was like, I'm not going to post on my business on my personal page because it's a personal page and people don't want to hear about it. Scrap that. Who cares? If they don't want to see it, they'll unfollow you or they won't like it or tag it. But on my Facebook business page, once I started saturating that, I started going from closing 1 or 3 homes a month to 10, 15, 20 homes a month, right? So on my Facebook business page, I share the same content, but I get half of the interaction as I do with my personal page. Who are you selling to? My family and friends. I want to increase home ownership amongst the people I know and amongst the people I don't know, but amongst the communities. Who better to tell what you do other than people that love you, know you, and support you? So I can't wait for you guys to celebrate the Pinkney Team's 1-year anniversary. We'll come each week introducing all of the Pinkney Team and then other people of the community. So join us next week. I will be introducing the Pinkney Team's very young Kia Pinkney. Get your keys with Kia and clothes with Kia, and you can get to know her. And we want to make sure that you get to know the entire Pinkney Team and the community. We thank you so much for joining Daphne Pinkney, my very first podcast. It's been a great pleasure of mine. I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. Let's talk about it with Daphne Pinkney.